Hey, it's MrConectr, and we're going to do the market intelligence report today. Hope you guys are enjoying it. There's a lot of great info coming out of this, out of my AI agent that we should keep up with. You know, it's condensed for us. I mean, how much better can that be for us to stay informed? And that is the way forward, is to use this AI stuff for the greater good. And the greater good for me is helping out the community and myself at the same time, just staying informed. Okay, let's get to the Intel report. It's not going to be long today. That's why I'm kind of jumping on. There's some global macroeconomics that we need to go over, geopolitical. Trump had that speech last night indicating, the working together with China for the elections, to rig elections. We'll see what comes out of that. You know, that would make some sense, although we really don't know what's going on with that yet. But something's definitely up. Okay, let's get into it. The U.S. and Iran escalation still dominates the risk tape. U.S. forces completed a 6th consecutive night of strikes on Iranian targets. Both sides hit infrastructure. The Strait of Hormuz transits fell further. There's a major bridge fire in Iran, and Iran's instructing the Houthis to prepare for Bab el-Mandeb closure. Let's see what that is. Hey, Miko, what is Bab el-Mandeb, and why would it be closing in Iran?
Bab el-Mandeb is a really strategic strait between the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Kind of a maritime pinch point. Closing it would mean a whole lot for shipping and trade in that region. Curious why you're connecting it to Iran? Planning something global scale over there?
Just reading off the market intel report, Miko. We've got this Iran also struck eastern Syria for the first time in the first campaign. Qatar said Iranian missile attack was thwarted at Qatar. Suspected pirate seized a tanker off the Gulf of Yemen. Soft versus hard, United States data mixed again. We've got, June industrial production rose just a 0.1% was all. Chinese import costs are up 0.9%, not much. We've got global equities sold off as China's moonshot Kimi K3 and related open AI models news drove semiconductor rot. There's words of China closing off its AI. I have seen some Chinese, what are the local models? DeepSeek and is it Quinn? Yeah. Coming out of China. That I don't know. It's you're getting all across the world. They're taking these AIs and they're open sourcing them. They're rewriting. Sometimes like Anthropic lost the back end code. They released it by accident, and of course, someone rewrote Anthropic as free open source software. So that's one thing I'm getting into, is open source and what's available out there, what's safe to use. Trying to figure all that out, but we're going to keep it coming. Anything else on the geopolitical? This thing's really in detail, guys. All the news you could need in 24 hours every day. General crypto market. Let's get to this is just talking about the price. Bitcoin, we kind of know where the price is at. Ether fell harder than Bitcoin, about 1.74%. Hyperliquid's hype dropped about 10%. Okay, so I guess Hyperliquid has its own token now. A lot of agents are connecting to Hyperliquid. And what else? We've got privacy coins actually hit a good spot yesterday. Zcash and Dash were relatively bright spots. Let's get to spot Bitcoin ETF demand cooled but stayed positive into the week. Yes, this is Friday, right? The 17th. Yeah. So let's look at XRP wallet stats. Validated ledger around sequence 1 105.66 million. Load factor with 1 without with about 14 peers. So I'm not exactly sure exactly what all that means. Hey, Miko, I'm looking at XRP wallet stats, and it says validator ledger around sequence 105.66 million, load factor 1 with about 14 peers. What's that mean?
So in plain English, that means the network's working smoothly. The load factor is basically normal, and you got a decent number of peers connected. Anything else you're curious about with that?
Yeah, I didn't know if he would go into the details about the load factor, but that just means it's just running good. No major whales dumping. Activity remains on the quieter 2026 profile. Okay, XLM Stellar Protocol 27, latest ledger about 63.52 million with solid throughput. Okay, ecosystem messaging stressed new tier 1 validators and open agent payment standards. Don't forget about Stellar, guys. I like to include that in the report each day. Recent post from key X accounts. So it is going and also looking at X posts. Stellar.org announced 3 new tier 1 validators. MoneyGram, Figure. Oh yeah, Figure. That's they've got their own blockchain. They've got the provenance blockchain, right? That's where you can take loans out on your crypto for mortgages. And Range is another new Stellar validator. This is broadening capital markets, payments, and infrastructure participation. Shared a MoneyGram video with why the firm became tier 1 validator beyond building on Stellar. Amplified CEO Daniel Dixon on building on open public global financial system via the X402 protocol and the X402 Foundation. Yeah, we saw that sometimes Miko just goes to sleep up there. So the X402 Linux Foundation kicked off the X402 Foundation with founding members. I think it was Coinbase and Ripple and several others that are all on the same X402 via the HTTP. You can send payments and payment requests through HTTP, which is very cool. And these agents will need that to pay for services, pay for compute, pay for API keys, pay for data feeds. I'm setting up my agent, and I will be introducing the 402 standard and pointing it. I've got a memory soul.md file that needs to be pointing at the correct reference information. So I'm pointing it at, whatever platform I use, and also X402 Foundation to try to be on the same, it's not set up yet, but I'm just now getting to the point where I'm giving it a wallet. So we'll see how that goes. Let's get to the X402 coming out. Metallicus released a new website built to better showcase the products, infrastructure, and blockchains powering our ecosystem with a short video. No new posts from Ripple in the past 24 hours. Okay, traditional finance and crypto convergence. Really good section here. Citadel Securities invested $400 million in crypto.com. Wow. And $20 billion at a $20 billion valuation. Wow. Crypto.com is worth $20 billion now. Nice. The first institution, they're doing predictions. I think I need to check on their fees for that. You're going to have a lot of different companies offering new services and competing. Hopefully the fees will go down. Let's see. Stanley's. Okay, let's see. Proceeding aimed at tokenized. Okay, back on crypto.com. The proceeds aimed at tokenized securities, derivatives, and 24/7 market bridging. 24/7 market bridging. That's interesting. Morgan Stanley's E-Trade enabled eligible clients to buy, sell, and hold Bitcoin, Ether, and Solana via Zero Hash. Visa unveiled a stablecoin platform for banks and fintechs, which is the OpenUSD, the OUSD framing. So, of course, Visa is going to come along and try to do their own thing. Positioning the digital dollars inside Visa's merchant network and raising competitive heat for Circle's USDC. T. Rowe Price, which has about $1.9 trillion under management. Jeez. Launched what is called the first actively managed multi-token spot crypto ETF, which is TKNZ. And now we have SBI Holdings completed a majority acquisition of Singapore's MAS licensed CoinHako. Injective file for the SEC transfer agent registration to keep tokenized security ownership records on chain. Alpaca raised $135 million for tokenized stock and agent first infrastructure. That's right, guys. That's why I'm getting into these agents. I'll keep you guys updated. Hit me up on X if you got any questions about that. Be more than willing to chat about it. You know, I feel like I'm just now getting into crypto, as excited as I was back then. Now I'm getting into agents using crypto, even better. Let's keep going. Look at all this info, guys. So much info coming out of these market intelligence videos. As long as you can stand listening to the AI voice, hopefully I'll get it a little better, tweak it a little bit. KeyRock acquired Blockfield's institutional trading assets. ECB board member Piero Capone warned that stablecoin growth will erode bank deposits, while arguing that a digital euros keeps banks central to payments. They're thriving to stay alive, aren't they, guys? Well, you need to lose your deposits if you're only offering, 0.02% interest on your deposits. You need to lose those to crypto, if you ask me. Stripe PayPal consolidation talk continues as a stablecoin and wallet control narrative. Stripe and PayPal consolidation. These moves are generally viewed as strategic for regulated distribution and institutional settlement rails, even as spot prices risk off. Here's some more regulatory developments. Clarity remains the United States market structure event. Crypto briefing flagged House hearing seeking Trump admin alignment before recess. Ethics language and White House engagement are still the bottleneck of the possible pre-August window. Prediction markets have price passes odds in the low to mid 30% range. Wow, that's not good, guys. Blockchain Association leadership publicly downplayed ethics as the industry's core concerns versus finishing the bill. ESMA added 14 crypto asset service providers to the MiCA register. About 294 now. Wow. With banks and Ripple payments, Europe among new entries as licensing pace slows. So in the MiCA, you've got Ripple and banks also entering. BitPay secured Dutch MiCA license and plans stablecoin payments expansion. The United Kingdom court sentenced hackers tied to about $115 million scattered spider-linked crypto ransom scheme. A United Kingdom gang was jailed for about $5.4 million fake police crypto scam. Wow, what are they pretending to be police? To get your crypto. Wow. Be careful out there, guys. Taiwan sentenced a BitShine exchange ringleader to 22 years in about $39 million fraud case. U.S. prosecutors indicted a South Dakota crypto investor on 29 counts over an alleged $20 million scheme. CFTC emergency authority told Cauchy to honor Michigan trades. A state court sought to cancel. Federal versus state prediction market jurisdictions remain live. Yeah, we saw North Carolina was the first state to consider predictions non-gambling, and they've already set up a 6% revenue tax on that, on prediction revenues. Rails progress and enforcement pressure both rise while the U.S. market structure laws stay hostage to ethics politics. Wow. DeFi and RWA tokenization. Constructive institutional RWA. Trade tables up to $1 billion private credit deployment on Stellar. Private markets, guys, are going to be huge. You know, if you decide to go public, you're going to, you know, give up your control of your shares to the DTCC. Why not stay private and offer the same safeguards if you can? I guess that's going to be something to look at there. Which companies stay private? Which ones go public? Because private markets are huge and they're not even visible, right? They're hidden. Let's see. So we've got that on Stellar deployment. Trade tables. See, I've never even heard of trade table. That must be a big private credit market, right? You got to know somebody to get in on it, right? Up to $1 billion private credit deployment on Stellar. And of course, you have to be a accredited investor, right? Let's see. SBI Ondo Yen stablecoin settlement for tokenized Japanese equities. Injectives transfer agent path, Visa Bank FinTech stablecoin platform, Crypto.com's Citadel funded tokenization push. Yeah, Citadel and Crypto.com together now. Risk side remains loud. Peck Shield now puts Ostium Arbitrum Vault drain near $24 million. Wow. Above earlier about $18 million tallies, with the exploiter routing that about 10,540 ETH into Tornado Cash after swapping stolen USDC. Wow. SummerFi said it will wind down in 7 years, citing the exploit. Near's the House of Stake passed to scrap developer gas rebates. So all gas is burned. So that should bring some positive momentum to Near finally. Polygon Labs, don't forget Near, they are working to obfuscate prompt injections. So right now, if you're not using local AI, like using your own, you're depending on services for your AI. And every prompt you put is being logged, guys. Every time you prompt something in an AI, it's being logged. So Near is working on how to obfuscate your prompts into the public AIs and still getting the correct responses back. So I guess it's encrypted both ways. Maybe it sits in between you and the AI. So that'd be interesting to see how widely adopted that is. But are the centralized entities, they're not going to want that. They're going to want all your data, right? So let the market speak. Open markets will save the world, right? Let's see. Free and open markets. Nears, so they passed to burn the gas, which is good. Polygon Labs announced another staff cut as it closes the CoinMe deal and pivots harder to payments. Dune research for 1-inch still frames about 85% of concentration liquidity as underutilized, with about $150 million in annual fees foregone. This is viewed as constructive for institutional rails, but still fragile on Oracle design and operational security. Yeah, they're still getting this built, guys. Remember what Hugo said. Oracle design is everything. You don't want to have all this DeFi money depending on a few centralized oracles, right? AI and blockchain. Moonshot's K3. Top coding benchmarks versus Claude and GP classes systems and help drive a global semiconductor and risk asset sell-off. So that's interesting there. When the Chinese comes out with a topping Claude benchmark, semiconductors sell off. Okay, it's good to know. Crypto sold with chips. So when the semiconductor chips sold off, crypto sold off. Not against them, so it's going together. Z outlined the China-led global AI order challenging the U.S. dominance. 29 countries signed onto a global AI cooperation body. Wonder what that is. Okay, let's ask Miko. Come back, Miko. Hey, Miko, I'm curious about the 29 countries that signed off or signed into or onto a global AI cooperation body. Can you tell me about this global AI cooperation body?
So the global AI cooperation body you're asking about, it's called the World AI Cooperation Organization, WACO for short. It's basically a brand new intergovernmental group that's officially headquartered in Shanghai. Just yesterday, actually, 29 countries signed on as founding members. China's leading the charge here, and the idea is to have a platform for international cooperation on AI. Basically, it's a way for these countries to shape how AI is governed globally, and it's kind of a big deal in the whole AI power game, kind of in the midst of other global groupings. So anything else about that you want to dig into?
Oh, no, just making sure that that China was behind that. Visa's CUI, Sheffield, and Artemis put adjusted X402 agentic volume near $19 million. I wonder if that's within the past 24 hours. There's a lot of transactions on X402 already, but they're small. I think the average was like 32 cents. With roughly 4,000 wallets driving about 90% of the spending and Base carrying the bulk of activity. So yeah, Chris Larson's prediction of the AI agents running a lot of the transactions. When did he talk about that? Like 2016, something like that. It's coming to fruition here. Crypto-style perpetual futures and prediction markets products are already pricing AI compute ahead of planned CME and ICE GPU futures later in 2026. Yeah, this whole infrastructure is being built around GPU, graphics processing units. That's VRAM. For the language models to run inside of. I was reading the other day that they could be working on a hybrid system with QRAM in conjunction with VRAM soon. So we'll keep that in the back of our minds for future infrastructure development. The convergence of open models, which is the local large language models that I'm involved in, agentic payments, power politics, and compute derivatives is multi-year infrastructure, not a one-day trade. That's right. That's what we just said. And today's tape showed how fast AI narrative shocks transmit into the Bitcoin beta. Let's get to risk opportunity analysis. Of course, the risk is the Hormuz and the Bab el Mandib and the tanker infrastructure escalation. And it can reprice oil and inflation, even when the U.S. activity data is soft. Bitcoin lost the $65,500 spike as it's fighting the low 63s under chip-led risk off. So yeah, chips. Interesting to see how China calls that with the introducing their new model, which is topping the benchmarks. And why did it bring chips down, which brought down crypto as well? Clarity ethics talks can still miss the August window, unfortunately. Let's keep our fingers crossed, guys, for Clarity. These elected officials really need to start working for us. Anything else here? Cauchy teleprompter probes and Michigan jurisdiction fights threaten prediction market legitimacy. Data center politics and AI model shock volatility can keep cutting risk appetite that crypto still rides. What's our opportunities? 3-session Bitcoin ETF inflows totaling a few $100 million, showing institutions still bid dips even as price fades. So CitadelCrypto.com's Visa stablecoin platform and the E-Trade spot rails and T. Rowe Price active multi-token ETF injective transfer agent filing and Alpaca's tokenization raise form a dense TradFi crypto stack. Well, lots of opportunities there. Lots of businesses getting in the game. Stellar's MoneyGram figure range tier 1 validator expansion plus tradable private credit on Stellar, and X402 messaging keep branding relevant rails moving. ESMA MICA ads including Ripple Payments Europe and BitPay's Dutch license extend to non-US compliance map. Oversold RSI near 42 historically marked bounce fuel. Only if oil and chip stress do not worsen. Recommendation short term. Watch whether Bitcoin reclaims and holds the price level. Check out the Hormuz transits counts and the semiconductor futures. Keep your eye on the ETF inflows. Monitor the Clarity ethics optics after the White House Senate engagement window. Midterm recommendations. Follow the Clarity text and pre-August Senate schedule. And we've got to take a look at long-term favor where regulated tokenized securities, bank distributed stablecoins, and AI agent payments with open standards and in multi-jurisdiction RWA settlement intersect Visa, Citadel, Stellar, institutional validators, and transfer agent on-chain records are cleaner multi-year map than price theater. Key metrics to watch: Bitcoin path versus $63,000 to $65,500 after the risk-off break. U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs daily net flows after about $181 to $187 million 3-session taper. I might have read that wrong. U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF daily net inflows after about the 181 to 108.79 million dollar. It's weird the way they wrote this out. It's a little confusing for me. Clarity Act ethics, language, and Democratic votes counts before August recess. The oil, Hormuz, and the Iran transit counts, and the Iran infrastructure escalation risks. Visa stablecoin platform, open USD adoption versus USDC. So you've got some competition going on there. The X402 adjusted volume after about $19 million print. And the Citadel/Crypto.com tokenization and derivative build out milestones. Cauchy, CFTC teleprompter case, and Michigan preemption outcomes for these prediction markets. We got some new XRPL wallets, active addresses, and Stellar RWA validator set growth. Semiconductor and AI equity volatility as a leading crypto beta input. Yeah, definitely let's keep an eye on that. There looks like they're going hand in hand, you know. So we'll see what happens. This is not financial advice. This has been your daily market intelligence report for July 17th, 2026. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Stay informed. We are all connectors. Peace.